What's going on, my friends? You know, in the middle of all this, I'm wanting to get on and talk about, some of the product that I buy. I want to talk about my experiences, with these companies and a little bit about the product and why I use them and how much I love them. And, each review will probably be a little bit different, and I want to talk about one product in particular, and I have to talk, I've got to rave about the company, and I'll tell you, I have nothing but great things to say about them. Their customer service is amazing. They've gone above and beyond. And I really wanted to take the moment and do another review of the product. Months ago, right after I bought it, I did one, but I don't think it was all that great of a review. I think I talked about how great this product would be for musicians on the go, musicians at RV, for musicians that have gone from an RV to customizing a van build like I have. I've got a great power system in this RV. I've got a 3,500 watt inverter and a 200 amp hour lithium ion battery and pretty much anything I need in it. But, no matter what you do, you got to have portable power. I still think when you live in a house, portable power is very important. And I want to talk about this product in particular. The company's called Inergy, spelt with an I. And I'm going to put the webpage in the description to the website of the company, and the product that I have is an Inergy Apex. I've spoken about this unit before. It's a portable power source. It has a 1,500 watt inverter. It weighs about 25 pounds. It's got about between 90 and 100 amp hours of battery on it. They may deem more about watt hours in proximity on that. I guess it varies and it depends. In fact, I got an email from them today. They're coming out with a new product. They're pretty much sold out of the Apex. It's going to be discontinued, but not to worry, because their new product coming out is going to be compatible with the Apex and the Kodiak. They've got new expansion batteries coming out. They've been talking about that, and I think that's cool. That's something I want to do. I really do. I want to get one of their expansion batteries because I love this unit, and I think it's great. Before I got in here and I was in my RV, I had those AGM batteries. I use the Apex for my CPAP, and I don't even think I use 30% of battery at night, and it charged right back up from the alternator of my vehicle, in no time. Originally had gotten, I think, let's see, I got, what did I get? I got 3 of their rigid flex solar panels, the flex solar panels that has the Lynx panels. And I was going to use them. I had 4 of them, actually, not 3. I had 4. And I was going to use the 4 for the top of my RV until I realized I'm wondering if I need to or whether I should. And I had some questions about it before I mounted them on the roof. So I called Inergy, and they were like, those really aren't meant to be on top of an RV. Those Lynx panels are not really, because the circuitry is on top. Weather extremities can damage the circuitry and those diodes on the panels. Makes a lot of sense, and fair is enough. Fair is fair. I can't argue with that. And they said you can do what you want, but you probably can't back up the product if you do that because it wasn't designed to do that, which I totally understand. So I don't even think I even said. I think I said. My question was, what do I do now? I need to figure it out. The guy goes, well, let's think about what we can do. Have you used the panels? What condition are they in? I said, well, honestly, like I said at the beginning of the call, these panels are brand new. They've been sitting in my RV since September. I haven't used them. He goes, well, maybe we can send them in for an exchange. And I'm like, that is so freaking cool. That's customer service right there. So they said, well, we're going to walk you through the return process. Let's take some photos of them. We got to make sure everything's inspected, that they work, and then we'll take it from there. So I had to go through and send them back. I had to get them packaged. They sent the label. I had to pay for the packaging. They sent the label for the shipping and credited me those panels after they got them, and they inspected and ran them through. And the process was just easy and seamless. I couldn't ask for better customer service. Wonderful indeed. They then in turn said, well, what we do recommend is our storm panels, the hard, rigid panels. And we can, those are a little bit less of cost. So what we can do is the Lynx panels will cost more than the storm panels. The storm panels are a little bit cheaper. We can give you credit in for what you paid in, and then it'll have to deduct the shipping both to and from, which is fair. I go with that. And then the difference for the panels and whatever's left. And I think it ended up, there wasn't a difference left. My shipping covered in the panels, I think it was like $30 difference. I paid $30 difference to cover the rest of the shipping, and that was fine. That was great. I was more than happy. Just the fact that they're able to help me. Their panels are wired for MPPT charge controllers, which is on the Apex. It has an MPPT charge controller, unlike the Kodiak has a PWM. They went to MPPT because it's much more efficient. I kind of wanted them to be monocrystalline. The Storm panels were polycrystalline, but that's okay. The rating on both panels were identical. Very little difference between the two because the Lynx deemed to be monocrystalline, but the guy said, honestly, if you compare the two, it's not like apples and oranges. It really just, the same power rating and the same efficiency. They're great panels, and I was happy with that. I was okay with that, and I have to say these panels have been wonderful. I wanted to get all 4 on the roof, but I couldn't do it on this ProMaster. So I got 300 on the roof, and I have 1 spare. That 100 when I travel would go with the Apex if I need to, and I'm fine with that. After putting the mounting brackets on it, I don't think they're going to take that back after that. So I wasn't concerned with that. I'll just have that in storage so when I travel, I can have that extra panel whenever it's needed. Now, that's the cool thing about it. Whether you live in an RV or not, the portability of these units is absolutely amazing. I love it's lightweight and just the things you're able to do with it. I mean, I was able to run my water kettle and it's 1500 watts. Now I can't run it for 5, 10 minutes, 20 minutes. I would say maybe more than 5, because I think it takes at least that to heat the water up, but probably not much more than that. But it worked with my water kettle, to boil water for coffee and tea in the morning. It runs microwaves under 1500 watts fairly well. I've seen these things, people plug them into RVs. It has an RV plug on it. If you can see, you've got an RV plug on it for 30 amp. You put 400 or 500 watts of solar panels out on it, it'll run that RV. I've seen it. There's just some things, you've got a 3,000 watt surge on this inverter, so you have to be careful. Also, there's to protect discharge rate, and this is what I was talking about a minute ago. People kind of down it, saying it's not a true 1,500 watt inverter because the discharge rate is off, but what you have to understand is that it cuts off like that to protect the charge and the discharge rate of the batteries. You're trying to protect those batteries, and that's why they designed that. However, if you look at those Titan solar generators and they're like, well, we got a 3,000 watt inverter with a 6,000 watt surge. That's great, but it's not going to go on 100 to 200. On theirs, I don't even know if it goes to 200 amp hours of battery, maybe 200, but 100 amp hours, it won't work. That's not going to work on 3,000 watts total on 100 amp hours of battery. They tell you have to have more amp hours of battery. You need a minimum of about 200 amp hours on their system, I think, to run that. So the same goes for here. What I think, now correct me if I'm wrong, and I don't want to overstep, and Energy could correct me on this one, but their new units and their expansion batteries for this is probably going to facilitate that inverter a little bit better. In other words, the more battery bank you have, the more room you're going to have with discharge rate and running stuff. Now, that's not to say it can run an hour or 2 hours straight, but you're going to be able to run it a little bit better. And I think that's the reason why they want to design expansion batteries that fit this unit much better in lithium ion. Right now, you can't put just any lithium ion battery with it without it being an Energy. That's coming. They do say you can match charge on an AGM battery, but as portable as this, why do you want to put a heavy AGM battery on it? Some people do it. That's okay. That's your prerogative. But I just wait for their batteries. But this thing here is absolutely amazing for the portability. It's only about 14 inches long and about, 8 to 10 inches tall, 8 inches deep, something like that. It's not a big unit. It's very portable. You've got 6 AC ports on it. You've got DC ports here. You've got your cigarette lighter DC 12 volt port here. So you got 12 volt, 12 volt, 12 volt. You got your USB and USB-C, your power switch for one being to turn your inverter on and one to run DC without your inverter, which saves battery. Now, what I didn't realize is you've got your expansion battery port over here, negative and positive, and I probably knew it, just didn't even think of it, but you can take 4-gauge cable and run this out to a DC distribution box, and you can run the DC without even turning this unit on. I've seen somebody do it with a Kodiak, so if the Apex does it too, I mean, I'm pretty sure if the Kodiak's doing it, this will do it. You can run your 12 volt straight off that and just leave this unit off. So I don't know if it makes much difference, but you can get your source from here or source from there if you want to distribute the power. This is your solar or cable for your solar panels, the input there for your EC8 connectors. It's also the port to put your cigarette lighter charge plug, which I use for mainly. And on the other side, you've got your plug. No, it's actually on this side. My apologies. I switched that up. This is your plug here to plug your AC charger for your AC 120 volt charge. They do have a rapid charger. I think it's like 189 watts that you can use, and down the road I may get that. It's pretty cool. So, and I will tell you, when 12 volt, when solar and the charging for the cigarette lighter, 12 volt and solar, the blue light comes on. But when you're doing 120 charge, this light doesn't come on. But it does indicate in all other times that you are getting the input. It tells you the input, the watts that are coming in, and your output. So in other words, let's see, that's, you hear the fan, that is for your inverter. Tells you basically what the state of charge is, about 12.10 volts, 8 watts. And then you get over here, you can just turn it on and it's just for DC. But if you have any, that's your discharge rate of 4 watts. I guess that was for when the inverter was on, it was running 4 watts. But if I have charge coming in here, it will tell you what your input charge is, how many watts you got going in, and how many watts you got going out. You can pass through charge with this, just like you can these other brands. You can pass through charge with it. It's very efficient. These things charge so well. And on the side here, you've got little breakers for your AC and your DC. You used to have to run you through a sequence to get this thing started again when it kicked out or something was overloaded. And I believe these breakers, hopefully I'm correct on that. Correct me again if I'm wrong on that, but I think those breakers help get you started on that. So, but I love this thing, man, and it's great portable. I mean, I use another brand that I have, a little small one, but this is, man, this thing is just absolutely amazing. I absolutely love it, and I can't wait for their expansion batteries. Their solar panels, I think, run about a 21 volt. I think it's open circuit voltage, maybe. I think that's what I read. Maybe I may be backwards on that. I'm gonna have to look that up. My apologies on it, but they're fairly compatible to most systems. I think the only thing you got to worry about is if you have an all-in-one system, and like Apex is all-in-one, there's a certain rating of solar panels you got to get. So you have to be careful. If you use another solar panel, you need to call Apex and let them tell you what rating of panels you have to get if you're going to use anything more. And obviously on this, you're going to have to use EC8 connectors, which is not a bad thing. It's actually a good thing. I mean, I just use EC8 connectors and brought the cable through, and I cut the EC8 off the end and put it in my Inergy charge controllers because it's parallel, and this is an MPPT charge controller. So the Inergy solar panels are compatible with MPPT charge controllers, other brands. So great panels. I have not had a problem whatsoever, and these things are fantastic. In fact, with the brackets and the panels, like most solar panels, if you put them on right, it just looks like a roof rack on this ProMaster. It doesn't even look like they're solar panels. Most people, you would think they would know, but they don't. But great company to deal with. And again, I can't say enough great things about Inergy. I can't thank them enough for their customer service. They're wonderful. Any questions you have about my experience with this Apex, let me know. It's a great portable tool, so when I'm doing my music, I can sit out somewhere and plug everything on my laptop and stuff. I compose music for film and television, and I absolutely love it. So the Inergy Apex, it's a great unit. It really is. I'll tell you, it's amazing because the competition in portable solar right now is amazing. It's an amazing thing to watch. with companies like Inergy and Jackery, and these guys are competing. Jackery just came out with the 1000. It's a 1000 watt inverter, and I think it's 100 amp hours of battery on it. And it's, you know, weighs almost about as much as this, and it's still not there. So I'm amazed. I'll be amazed to see what Apex has coming out here soon. You know, you get one of these portable units that have 200 amp hours of battery and about a 2000 watt inverter with a good discharge rate. And I'm going to tell you something, that's going to be a game changer in portable power with RVs. You can see a lot of people just going all in one. Because I'll tell you, if I found a unit like that, if Apex was like that, I probably wouldn't even gone with what else I had here. I'd have just stuck with the Apex. Now, I will tell you, if I didn't want the big microwave here and the induction cooktop and things in the headroom, basically I just call it headroom, just room to be able to have a good inverter to do these things individually, not all together, I would have just stuck with the Apex. I would have had my lights running off the Apex. I would have had my Max Air Deluxe running off that. I would have had enough solar where 300 watts of solar would have kept this thing charged, because you're only looking at a 10 to a 28% discharge a day. People get so hung up on this, well, it takes so much to recharge the whole battery. You're not discharging the whole battery, and I've said this before, if you're using these correctly, your discharge rate a day, you have a pass-through charge. You've got solar pass-through charging and trickle charging your batteries, keeping it charged within a 10 or 20% day, 10 to 20% a day, depending on how you use it. Whether it's a heavy usage day or a light, that's about the average. And if you get in your car and plug it in and drive it. Like I alternator charged my battery here, but that thing plugs in the cigarette lighter plug, and it charges so efficiently. I mean to tell you right now, I'm an hour or two driving down the road today. If you depleted half the battery, it's back up and ready to go again. I mean, it really is a great unit, and I can't say enough great things about it. I'm really looking forward to seeing what Apex has coming out next. I really am. It's just a good unit. One other thing before I wrap this up I want to touch on is Will Prowse did a video on this, and I love Will Prowse to death. His videos are amazing, and again, I can't thank Will Prowse. Helped me with something the other day when I messaged him. He got back to me very quickly, and thank you again, Will. But I don't know what that video was about. It's none of my business. But that button that popped off on Will's video, I'm gathering without Apex saying it to me, they designed this switch where if it pops off, you could get it back on, because there's a video, if you look it up, Apex, the Inergy Apex switch on how to get it back on. And it pops back on, because mine popped off and I thought it broke, the switch right here. And I called them, I said, what do I do? The switch broke off. I can't get it back on. It's something I'm going to have to send back to you. They were like, no fear. There's a video, I'll show you how it popped back on, and it's really easy. When you push it in, I think you push it in and push it left and then back right again, and you'll hear it click, and it pops back in. It really does seem like it broke when it comes off. It'll freak you out for the first time, but I'm telling you, the switch is fine. You'll get it back on. And if it happens to you, just call Inergy. They'll give you a link to the video, and you probably can find it on YouTube, because I'm not going to say probably, Inergy's YouTube channel. If you look up Inergy's YouTube channel, it's on there. It's a sequence on how to get that button back on. So any comments or questions you have in the video on this, let me know. I'd be glad to answer them. I love this unit. I see a lot of people out there running their vans and their RVs with these things. If you don't require 400 or 500 amp hours of battery a day, and you can get a few hundred watts of solar panels and keep this thing charged solid. It'll run everything you need. It just depends on your usage. Some people are a lot lighter of usage than I would be, and I'm starting to find out that my usage is fairly light compared to what I figured that it would be. I mean, I'm not running this microwave all the time. In fact, today I ran it for the first time since I've just built this van, for the first time for about a minute or two, testing it for something I was doing with a fuse I was changing out, something I needed to upgrade. But I'm pretty sure I'll heat things up in that microwave momentarily. It'll work fine. This is a heavier microwave than the average microwave, so it's probably pushing it with the Apex past 1500 watts. But I don't know, it probably would run a minute. Just depends on the rating. I haven't looked at it yet, but I've seen them. You get on YouTube, these guys are running these things. You know, there was one guy out there, I cannot remember his name. If you ask, I can look it up for you. But if you look up Inergy Kodiak, he loaded up solar panels on his RV, and he literally plugged his RV into the apex with the solar panels, keeping it charged throughout the day. And he had TVs and video games. He turned the microwave on. He was running lights, all this stuff. Computers. Didn't bat an eye. Didn't even bat an eye. I mean, it really, the thing ran great. And it's just, these guys are putting these things to the test. And you'll see these preppers, they'll do a lot of these videos where they're putting them through certain tests. And they've given it a good review, and I have to admit. But good things are to come with Apex. Well, and I can't thank Apex enough again. Thank you again. This is a great unit. And just because I have a lot of power in this fan doesn't mean I won't be using it. It'll be a great backup. It really will. I got the base camp lights with it. This thing comes with. It came with their standard AC charger, and it came with a car charger. And a car charger, I'm not sure, was at the time was optional. It's been a while, but I've got that. Base camp lights came with it, and the cables that came with the solar panel. So you can get their kit. They have different kits, or you can just buy this individually and do whatever you want with it. Customer service is fantastic, and they'll help you. They'll talk to you and answer all the questions you need. Company is based out of Pocatello, Idaho. And in fact, when I bought this, I had just driven through Pocatello, and I was like, I could have gone by and picked one up. I didn't realize I was so close. But anyway, that's that in a nutshell. And you got any other questions, let me know. And I will see you guys on the next video. Thank you so much for watching. And thank you again to Inergy. Thank you. Have a good one.